So this cartoon is now depicting, because I wanted to try and just break it down, how might this apply to a real patient? To a man that was referred to me for ED treatment, secondary to his ex-wife humiliating him. She, in open court, she calls out, "You were the worst lover I've ever had." You know, the judge tells her to be quiet, but this guy is like, he can't believe what he just heard. So he comes to see me 2 years after the incident, and the cartoon shows the breakdown of various potential factors relating to his chief complaint. So these are the things I was thinking about. The M's mean mental. I think that's a little hard to see, so I'll just describe it. The M's are mental factors, the P's are physical factors, and then they're numbered to correspond to which one of those factors that we're referencing. So I want to take a pause for a moment so we can read the list. I think that's visible, yeah. But we're talking about, mentally the thoughts, how they can inhibit erection, upsetting feelings, humiliation, confusion regarding interpersonal relations. He once tried to engage with another woman, and there was sufficient friction, but that friction wasn't sufficient to override the psychosocial factors. So he wasn't able to get an erection, and he felt humiliated again, and then avoided dating for a long time. So he goes for psychotherapy, a supportive psychotherapy, and unfortunately that, not really surprisingly, did very little for his erectile problems and his avoidance of dating and women. What about physical? I would say he may have been anatomically predisposed. Why? Lots of people have negative experiences, people say mean things, and you don't necessarily, fold all your cards just because of that. Some people get headaches, some people get stomach aches, some people get sexual problems. He was probably predisposed a little bit. Doesn't really matter for the treatment, but just for your own understanding. So maybe it was pervascularization. But he was also drinking too much to help cope with his bad feelings. He also had a low testosterone level. We had that examined. Now, I do think he was genetically probably predisposed to have erectile dysfunction, but we don't have no way of testing that at this point in time. And part of that predisposition is probably less neurosensitivity. When he's touched, he may not feel exactly the same degree of exciting sensation that somebody else might. And then there's things that are unknown again, and those are going to weigh in, even if we don't know how to describe them. And then importantly, he went to see his urologist soon after this happened, after he first tried to have sex again and failed. And the urologist did prescribe a PDE5, whether it was Viagra, Levitra, I don't remember. But he gave him insufficient dosing instructions, and it didn't work at all. And he was even more devastated. And it was actually soon after that he went for the supportive therapy that also helped him feel a little bit better about himself and not feel so bad about what she said, but meanwhile he still wasn't able to function. Now, I really don't expect anybody else to diagram all this like some 5th grade English homework assignment. I get that. But it highlights the way granular, multiple, discordant factors interact, yet in the end produce a simple result. The person is functioning or they're not functioning. And it really highlights all the different etiological factors that need to be considered. The sexual tipping point reminds us to consider all relevant factors, not just the ones that are easy to observe and recognize because they're comfortable for us based on our own training. Too many of us are siloed with limitations that our own profession of origin have influenced. Too often specialists engage in myopic patient treatment because of that. And that's really where I come around to this notion of continuing education for all of us and integrating more knowledge from other professions. So far the takeaway is SD is always determined by biomedical, psychosocial, and cultural factors. An individual's sexual tipping point at any given moment is determined by the net sum of those factors. Identifying the factors allows you to plan your initial interventions. And finally, if you summarize your understanding to the patient, you can inspire patient cooperation and hope.